Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. I got a special guest in the building, Tate Jones. What's going on with you, fam?
Man, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I want to introduce you in a way so that people really understand who you are because you're a professional fighter.
Yeah.
I would consider you a part of Team Deontay Wilder. I would
Oh yeah,
also
yeah.
consider you a part of Team Brian Norman Jr. And
Absolutely.
you've been around that camp. You've been in there sparring with them, so you know the ins and outs of that entire camp. So I wanted to make sure I set the stage for everybody so that they understand what's going on and how
I'm
you
sure.
are expertly knowledgeable about boxing and that particular camp. I want to run a few things by you because we got the big fight coming up this weekend. I'm going to do
Yeah,
two
yeah.
things. Number one, I'm going to play a video because I want you to hear something that was said on YSM today by Greg Hackett. And then, okay, I'm going to play that in a second. But I want to get your take on this because, we hear a lot of things that's currently going on with Devin Haney, with Brian Norman. Some people feel that Brian Norman is tailor-made for Devin Haney in terms of his style. Some people think that Devin Haney, with his inability to block a left hook, is tailor-made for Brian Norman. I'm more on the camp of the latter versus the former, but
Right.
we'll see. One of the things that I think is being is floating. How do I want to say this? One of the things that I think people are not really considering is how fast Norman is. Norman is a lot faster than people I think give him credit for. And
Yeah.
what I think people believe is they're going to see a fighter that's slow-footed and just doesn't have the speed to keep up with Devin Haney. And I don't know if that's true. What are your thoughts on that? Because you've been in the ring with him, you sparred with him, you know what he's like. What are your thoughts?
Man, I've been sparring this kid since he was 13, 14 years old. And people will talk about he's inexperienced. He may be inexperienced up under the lights, right? It's when we speak the resumes of Devin Haney, in which so we can't knock, but there's a reason why they are saying what they're saying. It was like, hey, yeah, you got that up under the lights, but those guys was also older as well. And at the same time, yeah, I may not have the experience up under the lights, but I've spar or probably spar more champions than you have and more rounds than you've even fought them. And that is a true statement because I've literally been there damn near all the sparring sessions that I had with these top guys. You know, somebody asked me what's one thing that Devin shouldn't do with Brian O'Mara Jr. He shouldn't try to box with him. And
Hmm.
everybody looked at me crazy. They was like, "Bro, you tripping?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I know what he can and I'm not gonna say what he can't do. I know what he can do."
Hmm.
And he said it in one of his interviews. Everybody actually doubt my one of my best attributes,
Right.
which is his feet. He just haven't had to use them in that type of fight. But he don't just get ready for fights and not use his feet. Like he prepares for any and every little thing, intricate details. Not on like people would say, he ain't found nobody to spar with that that mimic Devin. Well, that's a lie. You
Hmm.
know, but the part about that is, you know, yeah, you got people who mimic Devin or whatever, but you also need people who gon' give you a different look and a different style, so you can still work on what you need to tighten up on. Because if you work on and tighten up what you need to work on, how can any other man beat what you've already good at, and what you wasn't so good at, you're still building at the same time as you're getting ready for your next opponent. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So, um, I like I said before, I think this fight right here is going to be very, very detailed. I actually think that I think Devin Haney he's in for a treat. I really do. I think he's really in for a treat, and he's going to see how everything going to go, and it's going to be from the first jab.
Mm. The first jab.
Yes, sir. First
All
jab.
right. All right. I got something else that I want to run by you. I don't know. You look like your camera went out. You still there?
Man,
Okay.
That's crazy. People are texting. I'm sorry,
Uh,
brother.
oh, you good. You good. You good. So YSM had Greg Hackett on. I know you're quite familiar with Greg Hackett in that you actually sparred with, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you sparred with Norman Sr. to get him ready for Greg Hackett. Is that correct?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. I don't think people really know your resume. You've been in there with Julius Ndongo, who was in there with Terrence Crawford. Who's
Yeah,
Mustafa is your trainer, right?
yeah. Mustafa. And my other coach, he passed away last year. Yeah, but Mustafa for sure.
Yeah, gotcha. So I just want to make sure that people understand you know what you're talking about. So I'm gonna play this clip
Yeah.
here from Greg Hackett. It's probably about 60 seconds. I want to get your reaction to it. Let me know if you can't hear it. But I'm gonna play it right now.
Okay.
Kind of like pull back the curtain on what Devin might be thinking, because you mentioned stoppage. You
Yeah.
one of you and somebody else that I talked to. Y'all mentioned stoppage,
Yeah.
and this is a while ago. So were you surprised by that, or you think he sees what you see?
Sometimes guys get so disrespectful they forget it's a shootout. Meaning, the disrespectful guy starts to think I'm the only one got a gun. He ain't gonna shoot back. He ain't gonna do shit. Sometimes in fights it be like that. Like the guy that's more offensive and the harder puncher, he forgets that this guy he got a gun too. So he start throwing so much to the point where he wearing himself out and he not really getting the result that he's looking for, and but he's wishing on a star where all I gotta do is land one of these motherfuckers. I'm gonna get you out. Dev know there's gonna be spots open for him to land his shit. All he gotta do is throw his shit. And I'm gonna give y'all a secret that y'all gonna call me a hater for it, but that's fine. Norman really can't fight on the inside.
What's your thoughts on that?
Man, listen. They YSM, Greg Hackett, they've been on the smear campaign since the whole Boots thing. That whole little Boots thing got they panties in a bunch. You know what I'm saying? But now I never blame Boots for any of that. You know what I'm saying? I've always blamed Eddie Hearn. But it's when but that's because I'm a real dude. I'm a real person. They not man enough to say Eddie Hearn fucked that up, that whole thing, because we could have had this fight. Eddie Hearn fucked that up. They'll say Brian Norman duck, but they won't say Stanionis duck. Stanionis didn't take the 1.7 at first either. Even when they offered what's my boy name, Mario Barrios, when they offered him, they actually offered him lower than what they offered Stanionis. The lowest offer of them all was Brian Norman Jr. They don't own up to none of their shit, none of their stuff, none of those Philly dudes. But here's what I know. I personally know that YSM and some others. I don't think it was great, but I personally know YSM. You know, Boots wasn't fucking with him at one point, kicked him out the gym. He couldn't even come to the gym.
Mm.
And I know this because another person stopped going to their gym. Stop. I know this to be true because another person stopped going to their gym. They had a private meeting before he even got back into the gym. They had a private meeting before he even got back into the gym. Once he got back into the gym, he started going on the smear campaign.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? He been doing this for a minute. But my thing is, you a real dude, brother. You a real dude, and I met both of them. I respect both of them. I'm just speaking on just the boxing thing. You know what I mean? Like not them individually as a man. But boxing wise, it's messed up because, at the end of the day, Norman Senior, he didn't have to. He was giving Jamel YSM. He was giving him, knowledge of what's actually going on, real time knowledge. But he still was taking it because, of course, he's a Philly dude. He still was taking that information, flipping it, throwing it upside down, and doing whatever he wanted to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So they just on a smear campaign. But it's funny that Greg can say that, right? Greg can say that, and don't get me wrong. He good. That's a good dude. I talk to him all the time. That's a good dude. the good brother always has some good knowledge. Not understand exactly what he's saying, but it's a
Yep.
difference when it's a difference when he say that, because Norman Jr. ain't talking.
Mm-hmm.
Senior can say what he want to say. He can do what he want to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a whole smear campaign thing, man. And honestly, quite frankly, honest with you, I don't really be paying them no attention, because it's old now. They've been on smear campaign for like 6 months now.